Hey, everybody, welcome. Hey, we're coming to you live, Father, Son, and Holy Football Weekly NFL show. G-Man, T-Money right there. This time for the August 6th action-packed show, keeping you up to date in the know. First week of full preseason T-Money. We had a game last week, little teaser, but now we get the full slate this weekend. How you
Yeah,
feeling about
buddy.
all of that?
Hey, I'm excited. This is great. We're getting quotes from training camp. We're getting, some buzz on some rookies. And we got preseason football on. This is great stuff, man. Every day just inches closer to that first kickoff.
T Money in the know at the training camp. He knows what's going on behind the scenes, man. I bet you do. And yeah, looking at these games here, coming up on Thursday, we got a triple header. I've got the Colts and Ravens. I understand the Colts are starting two quarterbacks are both playing, so that's going to be cool.
Yep.
And then we got the Bengals at the same time, roughly 7:30. What do you think about the Bengals there, T Money? How you feeling about them?
I'm happy to be a fan.
Fair.
My confidence level is not, at an all-time high due to their, lack of defensive prowess and upgrade. But, happy that the season's starting, trying to go in positive.
I heard they're playing their starters in these preseason games. Burrow's going to play, man. I think Burrow put
We
the
need to. That's
gauntlet
very
down.
important.
He's like, let's get it going.
No, we need to. We're starting slow every year. So this is great. I'm glad that he said something. Jamar Chase said something. We got to stop the slow starts. We were 1-3 last year, put us behind the eight ball, couldn't catch up. We need to start strong.
Yeah, so 3 games Thursday night, 3 games Friday night. It's going to be fun, man. And Friday night, 7 o'clock, we got the Browns starting. Shadeur Sanders, I just saw today. So that should be kind of cool. And so,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
here
that'll be
we
great.
go. Here we go, Team Money. If you like what we're doing, everybody, do us a favor, press the like and subscribe button. Help us continue to bring you the fun and the insight. Of course, we bring you insight. You know all that. Hey, the Buffalo Bills Team Money are in the middle of a contract dispute with James Cook. He has now missed multiple practices over the last few days. He's entering the final year of his rookie contract, but wants to be paid like one of the top backs. Should the Bills pay James Cook Team Money?
Well, I think there's a fine line, right?
Oh,
Giving him Saquon Barkley money, Christian McCaffrey money, even Derrick Henry money. I just think that that's a non-starter for me. And a lot of times that's where these running backs come from. He's looking to get, some of these better running back money, the Jonathan Taylors of the world. And I think James Cook is very talented. I like James Cook. I think he is special. He's a great receiving back, but he is not on the level of a Bijan Robinson, of a Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are top tier guys, and that's kind of where the money is. And so giving him 15, 16 million a year doesn't seem feasible. And so I think he needs to take a step back and decide, do I want the money or do I want to potentially get either traded, be a free agent next year and maybe not make as much money and have to change teams? If I'm him, I'm looking at the Kyron Williams deal that just happened today. The Rams paid Kyron Williams 3 years, $33 million. They guaranteed basically 2 years of it at $24 million. That's a great contract. Even if you were to get a couple million less than that guaranteed, let's say 3 years, 33 million, 22 guaranteed. That's still 2 years more guaranteed to be with the Buffalo Bills, which I think is an offense you do not want to leave. Look, I like James Cook. He's great. He led the NFL in rushing touchdowns last year, which is awesome, but he was 16th in total yards. He was 19th in
right.
carries. This is not a bell cow. And
Yeah.
so I like him a lot for fantasy football purposes. He's great in a PPR league because his catching ability and his explosiveness ability and his touchdowns on an elite offense. But
Yeah.
when we're talking NFL, straight up, I get weary of paying running backs. So you got to
Well,
teeter the line here.
yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. He's under rookie contract. These guys under these rookie contracts are lower paid than the guys that are elite because they're under a rookie contract. That's the whole way it works. Jahmyr Gibbs only makes 4.5 million a year, and look how good he is. So these guys that are under rookie contracts look like they're low, but he's in his fifth year. He's trying to negotiate early. I agree with what you said, T Money. Kyron Williams is getting 11 million a year. I understand that Cook wants 14 a year. That would put him even with Jonathan Taylor. He's not going to get that. But with that
No.
11 million a year with Kyron just coming out today, as you said, it's probably going to be in that range. Those guys are very close. David
Yeah.
Montgomery and James Conner are at 10 million a year. He'd be a little bit over them.
Yeah, I think that that's where you look at, like Kyron Williams isn't the explosive guy that James Cook is, but he can run the hell out of the ball and take carries. James Conner kind of do it all guy. Montgomery is a bruiser. I think if that's his range, 10 to 12 million, that's what I would accept if I was James Cook. But again, he led the NFL in rushing, and he will not let them forget that, I'm sure. And so I'd be weary about paying him any more than that if I was the Bills. But I would love to get him locked down. He's a good talent, but at my number, not his.
That's exactly right. I like the way you're negotiating, T Money. Hey, let's see what happens. I think that deal gets done really quick now with Kyron going down. So
Yeah,
let's
probably.
let's go to Michael Penix. Talk about Atlanta. The Falcons feeling excited this year. Michael Penix has the job. He was in the role the last 3 weeks of the year against the Giants, Washington, and Carolina. Had a big week 18, if you can count that, T Money, threw for 312. That was his best game. What are you thinking, T Money? Michael Penix going to continue that week 18 kind of level, or is he going to fall off? Were you expecting a big year from him?
Look, I like Penix. Big year might be tough for me. He's not the most athletic guy, so he's not going to be running outside the pocket much. He's going to be in the pocket, very Drew Brees esque kind of guy. Kirk Cousins is going to be a great mentor for him because that's what he's going to kind of look like. I don't expect a big year. I think he's going to do all right. And right now, again, the fantasy world kind of projects out the stat lines. That's why we're referencing it. And he's projected to be the 24th best quarterback in the NFL
Yeah,
production wise this year. And
yeah,
that sounds about right for me for a guy who's played a couple games in the NFL. This is really going to be his first full year starting. And so, you look at guys around him like Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. I think that sounds about right to me. He's going to be a solid quarterback. Some weeks he'll look amazing. Other weeks he's going to throw 3 picks. I don't think he's going to light the world on fire, but I do like him. I think he has potential to be a starter in this league. Very Geno Smith esque, where maybe you're the 13th best quarterback. They can rely on you to make the playoffs, win 10 games. I can see that happening. So, I expect him to be middle of the road this year and not light the world on fire. So, no big expectations for me like some of these other rookies. But yeah, I think he's going to be all right.
yeah. I agree with what you're saying. And if you look at week 16 to 18, averaging 250 yards a game, like you said, nothing extravagant there.
Yeah.
QB 23 in those last 3 games. But he's an aggressive guy, like you said. I think he's going to get big spike games. He'll throw it down the field. He ranked, if you look at
Yeah.
those last 3 games, ranked sixth in deep throw rate, second in the league in ADOT, average depth of throw. So he's going to throw this ball down the field
Yeah.
from that pocket. And he's going to cause some excitement because he's got Drake London, he's got Darnell Mooney. I understand Kyle Pitts and him have really been hitting it off in practice. Also got Bijan. So a lot of weapons there for Michael Penix. He's going to have some good games.
Yeah. Totally agree. Totally agree.
Hey, you want some more entertaining father-son camaraderie? We're going to bring you some fantasy today, blending in some fantasy strategies as we move along here, building up to the games for the regular season. We're going to give you around the NFL. We're going to give you some fantasy. Do us a favor, press that like and subscribe and help us out here. And thanks to Blue Tees Golf, our show sponsor. Go to blueteesgolf.com, enter code FSHS, get a 10% discount. All right, Team Money. 7 NFL coaches were fired last year, making another year of significant movement in the coaching ranks. While a few head coaches did survive, the pressure is on, Team Money. Which coach is on the biggest hot seat?
I think for me, I took this in two different ways. I think The coach that's going to be talked about the most on the biggest hot seat all year for me is Mike Tomlin. Okay. I
Whoa.
think that this thing could go south really quick. Now, he might survive whatever happens. So if you're telling me, do I think Mike Tomlin gets fired? I don't. That guy's just, he's going to be there as long as he basically wants to be there. But I mean, they play the Jets week one. Imagine losing to Justin Fields and the Jets week one. Like
Yeah, that'd be tough.
this thing could get off the rails really quick. So
Yeah.
I like as far as hot seat, I think Tomlin could be on it all year, even if he survives. But first coach to get fired, that's kind of where I'm thinking actually this goes. Mike
Yeah.
McDaniel of
Okay.
the Dolphins
Yeah.
could be the first one fired. That's my thought process because this Miami team, there's a lot of fiery personalities. Tua
Yeah.
is very up and down as a quarterback. They've been making the playoffs, missing the playoffs. They've got rid of a lot of talent this year, so they're very, in depth of talent. They don't have a lot of guys around anymore. This thing could go south quick. I've heard training camp is all out of whack, and people aren't being held accountable. He clearly doesn't have the ear of some of the best players. Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins here, whether he's a boy genius or not, might not be able to be a head coach in this league. And so he could get fired if this goes south quick, in my opinion.
Yeah, good point. And I like that pick too. I think Mike McDaniel, yeah, you're right. He's not my number one. I'll give you my number one in a minute, but I support the Mike McDaniel thought. 8-9
Okay.
last year. They were
Yeah.
second in their division. If you look at his record, 28-23. And
Not
went to the
horrible.
and he's went to the playoffs 2 out of 3 years, which doesn't
Yeah.
sound bad. But then you look at the trend, and they're heading in the wrong direction. Team money, you know that that's not good. And I saw him. I saw an interview yesterday of him, and he looked like he was really frustrated. He's losing his humor. Like he's not. He
Yeah.
used to be kind of funny. He's like got an edge. And
Disheveled.
Tyreek, yeah, disheveled. Right. And Tyreek is kind of flipping out. Tyreek, I
Yeah.
mean, I think he's losing the locker room in that place. I really
Yeah.
think they're in big trouble, even though his record's not really bad when you look at it overall. But yeah, I think he's up
Yeah.
there. The guy I have before him, though, T Money, my number one, is a guy who was worse in the league last year. Brian Callahan from the Titans. Worst record in the league. 3-14, 1-5 in their division. Three of the four teams in that division have losing records. He's at the bottom of that heap. Of course, the Texans won that division. They were 27th in scoring. Here's why I think he's number one. That owner, Amy Adams Strunk, has a history of firing coaches. In the last 3 years, she fired Mike Vrabel and two GMs. And Callahan's going to be next, man. And I'll tell you what, if Vrabel makes the playoffs and Callahan does it, it's going to happen.
Oh yeah. Definitely can see that. They are an emotional franchise for sure. And then you just, like you said, they like to fire people quick. I would say that because he's not, he's only had one season there, that they wouldn't do that. But he was brought in to be the, Cam Ward offensive guru whisperer, and if Cam Ward looks bad and looks like inept, almost, I think that this could go south quick.
Yeah.
And that's why they got rid of, Doug Peterson in Jacksonville and Urban Meyer in Jacksonville, because they know Trevor Lawrence has the talent, but no one's been able to pull it out of him. And like you said, an emotional group down there in Tennessee, if they don't see Cam Ward progressing or even going in the wrong direction, even though they might not win a lot of games, you need to see some flashes. So we'll see there.
Amy Adams Strunk. Watch out for Amy Adams, man. Going to be coming at you this year, Callahan.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about the NFL MVP. Not too early to talk about MVP. Hey, T Money, the last 3 years, the NFL MVP winners, Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen. Who would you think? Okay. You can't pick one of those three, T Money. Who's your dark horse for the NFL MVP?
I'm gonna go deep then. If you want dark, I'll go dark. Okay.
Okay, go
No
dark.
one's talking about my guy Baker Mayfield.
Whoa,
Okay.
bake the cake.
Bake the cake, put it in the oven, because here it comes. Team Money's gonna lay this out for you. Okay.
Woo!
He is projected ninth in the best odds of the MVP right now. but this man was top 5 in everything last year. Okay. Now, Joe Burrow was an MVP candidate last year, and his team did not make the playoffs. So Baker should have been right there with him. Baker Mayfield was third in total yards, second in touchdowns behind Joe Burrow, third in completion percentage, fourth in passer rating. They led the NFL in third down completion percent or conversion rate. This guy was on a heater last year, and because they got off to a slow start and didn't, have the best record, he didn't get credit. But he's in a very, very winnable division. I mean, this division is his for the taking. The Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers. He might have the easiest winnable division in all of football. If this team wins 12 games and Baker Mayfield puts up the same exact stat line, and potentially without Chris Godwin for half the season, this could be a really, really great bet for the 9th best odds for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised. He's probably going to be top 3. But if he has the season 13 wins, 12 wins, I like Baker Mayfield a lot to continue his progression. With the veteran Mike Evans out there, solid offensive line, good weapons. I like him a lot as my dark horse MVP.
Good pick. Good pick. Hey, he's 9th ranked right now for the MVP, plus 2,500. T Money, you put $100 down, you win 2,500. You going to do it?
I'm not $100, but maybe $1.
Plus 2,500. Not bad. I'm going to go deeper than that for you, T Money.
Oh, okay. Give it to me.
I'm going to a plus 6,000. 106,000 on this one. And here's who I'm giving this NFL MVP award to. The quarterback that beats Mahomes. You knock off Mahomes in the playoffs, and I'm giving the guy behind me a shot. Bo Nix. And my second choice, Justin Herbert. The guys in that division. You guys take down Mahomes, you got the NFL MVP. Bo Nix can do it. He threw for the second most touchdowns ever as a rookie, 29. And if you take his second half of 24 numbers and double it, 70% completions, 4,300 yards, 45 touchdowns, that's MVP level.
That's Bo impressive.
Nix to take down Mahomes and get it.
That's impressive, man. I like that. I like that a lot. I wouldn't be shocked, like you said, if it's either of the guys that won the division that Mahomes was in, and Bo Nix has a great shot. Obviously Sean Payton's coached an MVP and Drew Brees, so he knows how to put up numbers with that guy. They just signed Sutton to a deal, got a great offensive line. That's dark. I love that. That's way darker than mine.
Yeah. Maybe I'll put 10 on.
I like that.
Hey, let's talk about fantasy as we wrap up the show here with our fantasy discussion on who is undervalued, Team Money, in your mind. Give us a quarterback, give us a wide receiver, give us a running back, someone that's not in the top 10 or 20 on the rankings. Who do you like, Team Money, starting off with quarterback?
Okay. So I know, we're usually only in one quarterback league. So, anything more than 12, I feel like is, a good deep. Everyone overlooking this guy. I got Drake May, QB 16 off the board right now. Okay. Drake May had a nice 10-game stretch where he looked like a pretty dang good fantasy option. 3 games over 20 points. 6 games over 18.4 points, with 7 games over 17.7 points. That would have put him at that average. If he can keep that more consistently and stay above 17 a game and go for multiple games above 20 points, that would put him as a top 10 QB in fantasy football, somewhere around between 7th and 9th last year in points per game. If he could keep up that 70% of games he was doing on that nice 10-game stretch he had. He's got Stephon Diggs. He's got Travion Henderson. He's got a new coaching regime. I like Josh McDaniels a lot as a play caller. That defense will be elite. I think this guy will be great, and he's a bona fide runner of the football. They said they want to get him out moving and running more than ever. This guy could be the next Josh Allen-like guy. in fantasy football, and he's going off the board as QB 16. I like Drake May a lot as a kind of under the radar QB right now if you need someone in late rounds.
Yeah, like that pick. Like that pick. It's his running ability. You're right. That really puts him over the top.
Yeah.
And I like that pick, T Money, especially with that offensive coordinator there. I think that's going to be a nice team. I guess he's pushing Drake May a lot in practice, really
Yeah.
pushing the envelope. Drake May, positive guy, getting pushed. Man, it could be a
Yep.
good combination there in New England. And we got Vrabel. Watch out. Team money on it. I'm
Yeah.
going to go deeper than that team. I'm going to the 20th ranked guy and your buddy, who I don't even like, JJ McCarthy. I think he's
Ah,
got a great shot at being a fantasy asset. I say that because of the system that he's in and the
yeah.
weapons that he has. Last year, NFL passing stats, looking at the yards thrown, Minnesota was number 5 passing stats last year in passing
Yeah.
yards. They're going to put up some yards, and he's going to be the guy. So he's locked in into a great offense with a great coach, an offensive-minded team. They get a lot of turnovers from that defense. He's going to have some short fields. I'm going JJ on the quarterback side. Who you like, T Money, at the running back?
All right, running back here is tough. It's a lot of projection, and you could look at some of these handcuffs and hope that someone gets hurt, like the Charbonnets of the world. But I'm trying to go for a deep starter here, and that is RB 29 off the board right now. Brian Robinson Jr.
Ah,
Okay, I know he wasn't elite last year, but his first 6 games last year, he had 5 games over 13 points, and the other game was over 10 points. So this is a guy you can get at almost RB 30 that could get you on one of the best offenses in the league. This reminds me of Chase Brown with the Bengals last year. No one puts Chase Brown into the top 10 most talented running backs in the league, but he's going off the board in the top 10 because he's on maybe a top 5 offense in the league. You have Jaden Daniels there. Austin Eckler's a year older, and one of the further down handcuffs, if I might put it, Jordan Masons and the Cam Scadaboos and the Charbonnets, those handcuffs are all going off the board before Eckler. So no one expects him to be that impactful. And so I can get Brian Robinson Jr., who's on an elite offense that late in the draft. That's a great guy who has a chance to be a sneaky top 10 option if they let him.
yeah, yeah, good pick, good pick. I'm going to go with the guy but lower than him in the rankings, and that's Tyrone Tracy at 31. On the rankings for running backs in the NFL. And I just think that this whole thing with Scadaboo is over. Tyrone Tracy is the guy. Scadaboo's hurt now in camp.
Yeah.
Tracy has had hamstring issues himself. He's had some injury issues, but I think he's the guy. I think he's the bell cow, and I think he's going to rack up a lot of yards. Tyrone Tracy,
Yeah.
he started in week 5 last year, so he didn't have a full season to put up all the stats. All the stats. I'm going with Tracy here as the dark horse for running back. Who you like a wide receiver, Team Money?
Oh man, this one's easy for me.
Oh,
Okay.
easy.
This
Okay.
is this is an easy one for me. This is Jacoby Myers. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Jacoby Myers, wide receiver 36 right
Oh,
now
oh,
off the
you're going
board.
down low. All
Okay,
right.
this is way deep. This guy last year had multiple games over 20 points. The guy can go for a big, and he was getting targeted in the top 6 in the league, even with Brock Bowers there. And now, instead of the bottom or worst quarterback play in the league, he has Geno Smith, who just made JSN and DK Metcalf both top target getters in the league. This guy now going off the board at wide receiver 36 when he was wide receiver 22 and then last year wide receiver 19 in points per game. So he's proven 2 years in a row, even though I am being drafted lower, I am a quality flex option, even wide receiver 2 or 1 potentially. Jacoby Myers is a guy I will be drafting in every single league because the value is immense. This is a guy you do not want to pass up on. And so go get you some Jacoby Myers right now. He's going to win some leagues because of how late you're getting him in drafts.
Look at T Money. Nice pick in there. Nice job, T Money. I'm going to go with a guy that everybody's passing on, and he's down lower than Jacoby Myers. He's number 51 in his name. is Brandon Ayuk. Okay, why is Brandon Ayuk so deep? Especially if you have a keeper league, you'll say, yeah, if you have a keeper league, okay. But even in regular redraft PPR, this guy's going to come back and kill it. I'm telling you right now. So why he's sitting at 51? Ricky Pearsall's injured. He's injured. Juwan Jennings either is injured or has a contract injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know they just don't have anyone else. So when he comes back, which some people are saying week 4, let's say it's even week 8, he's got all that season, and then you're into your fantasy playoffs where you got the 6th highest paid guy in the NFL
Yeah.
receivers, 6th highest paid in the NFL. Why is he the 6th paid NFL wide receiver? Because he's good. There you go, right there. That's my dark horse.
Yeah. Hey, I like that a lot because the injury risk is already baked in. You know, if he's being
It's baked
drafted
in.
right now around
51.
Matthew Golden of Green Bay, who they say they're not impressed with, and the Christian Kirks in Houston, who may be the wide receiver 3, there's a lot that injury risk is baked in already at that draft point, and you could get a potential wide receiver 1 to finish the year and win you some playoff games. So I like that a lot, G man. Obviously not to start the season if you're looking for someone right away. This is a definitely an investment, but that's why he's wide receiver 51. I like that a lot, G.
Thank you. I like that. Okay. Hey, well, T Money, great show. That's it for today. We'll be adding more and more as we go along here, more fantasy. We'll get the big bets going soon. We're going to start picking up the steam here at Father Son Football. You ready? Enjoy Thursday night, everybody. We had fun hanging out with you. Father Son Football loves bringing you the energy. On behalf of T Money, I'm G Man. See you next week.
Peace.